Hello and welcome to the Claret Blue podcast. This is our Inside Bodymoor show as we preview Aston Villa's trip to Ipswich Town this Sunday. This video is a pre-record. We've not risked a live stream because John's at his parents'. They've just moved house and the Wi-Fi is new. Looks all right at the moment, but best not to risk it. However, John, didn't tell you about this. We're going to treat this as if it is live. Let's bring that chaos into it as we always do. I will be making no edits in this episode apart from if the Wi-Fi goes weird. So if we make a mistake, we just go with it. How's that?
You just want a night out this Friday, don't you?
Yeah, just get this done, get it gone. How's things, mate? You okay?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Yeah. Presser earlier this afternoon, so looking forward to Ipswich. Then busy week next week as well. Really looking forward to that. But Unai, if you spoke to Unai today, you wouldn't even think that we had any games next week because he does not care for them. His full focus is on Ipswich, as it should be, by the way. It's not the first time he's said it as well, we're only focusing on this game. But today it was like more emphatic than usual. Like, I'm not going to be talking about Bayern Munich or obviously Man United at the end of next weekend before the international break. But yeah, back-to-back home games next week. That'll be really good atmosphere. Really looking forward to that. But first, got to just get the job done against Ipswich, which will be a difficult game.
Do you think it will be difficult? Why?
They're unbeaten in the last three. And I think for a newly promoted side to have, yes, they haven't won yet, but they're a team that have shot up through the divisions, clearly playing very well under Kieran McKenna. I think they've recruited really well as well. Portman Road, they know that they need to start picking up points literally as soon as possible. Remember when we got promoted and it was a case of, okay, well, when we go away from home, you kind of take what you can. And to be fair, they have. They obviously drew against Brighton, kept a clean sheet. So that's a very good result. But then at Portman Road, they're going to have to win games to stay in the division, essentially. So it won't be easy for us. I expect us to win the match because we're the fourth best team in the Premier League. But by no means this is a match where Villa are going to turn up like they did against Sheffield United. It's completely different to that, I think. So I expect it to be a tight match, one that we'll have to put 100% into to get 3 points.
Yeah, I think when Ipswich came up, we spoke a lot about the promoted teams in our previews and stuff, and Ipswich were the one for, to be fair, not just us, but for other people as well, that a little bit of the unknown, probably because of the back-to-back promotions that I think everyone had Southampton and Leicester in their bottom three, and most had Ipswich. But if you had one that were going to survive, it was Ipswich as the one out of those three. And yes, they're 17th at the moment, which doesn't really mean anything with 5 games in. But from the early signs, they're not cut adrift with 0 points like Everton are. Yes, they've only got 3, which is a massive difference. But of the 3 that are maybe going to do something, Ipswich always felt like they could be the ones. So I'm absolutely not going to take them for granted. But also, as you say, this is absolutely a game Villa should be targeting. Yes, it's away, which is not as easy as it is at home. But this is Villa, a top 4 side now, not the team that is like, get what you can on the road. We want to win games on the road as well, because that's what you have to do if you're a top 4 side. So absolutely, Villa should be going to this game with the intention of winning, and I think they will as well.
Yeah, obviously we hope so. Emery mentioned as well they don't want to look back at the end of the season and think about what points they've dropped because they were looking elsewhere or they weren't fully focused on the points that are at stake in that specific game. It is full focus on Ipswich, which I like. It doesn't give Ipswich that kind of leg up almost to think, Villa might have an eye on Bayern, or they might have an eye on whatever it may be, or they might be thinking that they'll be going to Portman Road thinking that we can win this game and then go for the next one. But it's absolutely it's on this match. Emery said he's been deeply analysing their structure, the way they play, which is interesting as well because they're not a team that have one kind of like Southampton, for example, and I think Russell Martin's probably just trying to get a different job, like Company did. Play a nice way of football. So you can access that more elite job, I suppose. But Kieran McKenna, I think he knows that'll be coming down the road anyway. But for now, his full focus is just keep the team in the division. But they can do it in different ways. They can play in different shape systems, and that's something I respect of them. So yeah, different challenge to what Southampton would pose. Obviously, not just in the way they play, but also I think we will respect Ipswich a lot more. And I know that sounds mad because I've just said everything's geared towards that one game. So if you play Southampton next week, I fully expect us to be giving everything into that match as well. But you can see they have one way of playing. I feel like if Villa play their best football against either of these teams, they win the match.
Yeah.
I think Ipswich, as we just said earlier, they probably have more about them, more ways, more solutions to firstly stop us, but also hurt us as well. So that's why it's an intriguing game and why it'll be difficult, because we're only, this is our 6th league game of the season. We're still really early into the season. I don't think we're anywhere near our best at the moment. I think we've got lots of games to go through. So that's why this is a tricky game, I think, because Ipswich are a team that aren't, how do I say, you can kind of be caught cold by them a little bit, whereas the teams, you know what you're getting. Ipswich is going to be more kind of unpredictable, I suppose. And again, I think the effect or impact of Portman Road as well, as I keep saying, I think that'll be worth something as well throughout the season for them.
It's absolutely right that Emery is not to be distracted in the build up to this game by what comes next week. Like, I'm half tempted to talk a little bit about Bayern and Man United, but I know that our build up content for next week will start on that from Monday. We have a Premier League game upcoming. All the focus is on that. And that's absolutely right for Emery to do that, and the players as well. And he'll be drilling that into them. You know, forget about Bayern Munich on midweek. Like, we've got to go and beat Ipswich first. However, how much of that do you think will play into the players' minds, just from an injury perspective? You know, you hear it often, don't you, towards the back end of a season about maybe not going into a tackle for fear of missing a World Cup. If you get yourself injured against Ipswich and miss Bayern Munich, that'd be absolutely gutting. Would there be any of that in the players' minds, do you think, or am I overthinking it?
I don't think there will be, just because there's such competition for places. I think it will look a whole lot worse on you if you duck out of a 50-50 or if you're not given 100%. And Emery will be able to tell this, not just by looking, but all of his statisticians after the match on the coach home, they'll be there with their laptops and they'll be checking over every number that's attached to you in your performance. So I have no kind of worries about that. And those players who underperform will be dropped for the Bayern game, essentially, because there's so much competition for places. And I know we are using a relatively similar 11 in most matches, but Emery will kind of clamp down on that. And that's something that he's probably done already throughout his tenure at Villa. And we haven't played many games as big as Bayern Munich at home. But I think players will be playing for their places rather than playing to keep fit, essentially. There's no problem with that. The only thing I would say is obviously McGinn missing the Bayern match and everything that comes with that, the kind of the emotion with that. Obviously, his teammates will be looking and thinking, well, I don't want that to be me. But I think first and foremost, they'll be going to win the match against Ipswich, obviously, and playing a key part in that, because that basically nails their place in the starting 11, basically. No problems with that.
Okay. Before we go into injury update, I wanted to ask you something about the presser from a journalistic point of view. Boring for everybody else listening, but intrigues me. The little videos that you've been posting on social media after a presser while you're still there, like, I'm just in Bodymoor, blah, blah, blah. Today's almost 5 minutes long. What's the process of that? Like, are there other people in the room? Are the Villa staff still there? Are you like hoping no one walks in while you're doing it? Do you do several takes? Like, tell me all about it.
All right. I'm usually the last one to leave the press conference room.
First one in, last one out. Top worker.
Not first one in, but I'm usually the last one out and kind of have the room to myself. So I just thought, after each press conference this season, I'll do a little video because why not? And no one usually walks in, but today someone walked in who was a Southampton fan, and I mentioned Sam Morsey's late goal for Ipswich against Southampton last week, and I gave him a little look. I don't know if he heard it or not, but I was nearly very distracted. But I don't know how it gets to 5 minutes. I have absolutely no idea. I must be rambling about rubbish, but it's just a little, I guess, audio recap more than anything. I don't think anyone really wants to watch me for 5 hours just talk. 5 hours, 5 minutes.
5 hours? No, we don't want to do that. Bloody hell.
Wow. The process of it is pretty simple. It's just an empty room. Behind me is supposed to be the Villa sponsors, but it's like an LED board now. So unfortunately, sponsors are turned off afterwards.
That's interesting. So I thought, it's a black wall, isn't it? Is what I thought it was, but it's like basically a big TV screen.
Yeah. Changed about 2 weeks ago. It was for the start of the season. It was a I don't know what material would that be. It's just
like a big cardboard kind of.
Cardboard. It was, I don't know, strange. Nice to say it, but now it's LED. They don't move, but it's a big LED screen, and the thing gets very hot. So in the winter, I'll be hugging that thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay, there we go. A tiny little bit of stupid insight that doesn't really mean anything. But if you wonder why Emery is sweating in his presses, it's because he's got this massive LED board keeping him warm.
Pretty hot, yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's do injury update next. Then talk to me about those. I think the last one of these that we did, this injury update was reserved for Kamara and Mings. Oh, they're back. Whee! A little slight improvement on that this week that they've got a bit of football to play.
Can I have an injury update for myself as well? I feel I've got a slip disc or something moving boxes for my parents yesterday, moving house. I've been in pain all day. That's that.
Are you going to be out for the Bayern game? Do we need to sub somebody in?
I hope to train beforehand. But it is difficult. I have a problem with my back, and it's not good because I'm still, I don't feel young anymore. But age-wise, 24, and back's hurting all the time. I got shin splints. Oh, I had my legs elevated yesterday just from walking around. I'm not good, man. Mings and Kamara, they're both obviously back in training full time, and they're going to play 45 minutes each against, I presume, Newcastle, because that's the team that the under-21s play next week.
Yeah.
So that's positive. 45 minutes for each of them. That's obviously the kind of nearly the last step, I suppose, in their rehabilitation from the ACL. Yeah. And then they'll be hopefully fit enough to feature in Villa's matchday squad from potentially Fulham onwards, because it's after the international break that they'll be ready for if everything goes to plan. So that's positive news.
I'll follow your injury update with one of my own. I've had actually loads of messages and DMs about like people saying things like, "Dan, I'm quite worried for your health," which is kind of nice.
I want to ask about your eye, but that's probably a good thing because I can see.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's pretty much cleared up now. But people kind of like, I'm worried about your health. It's kind of nice. Obviously, the people are concerned, but kind of like, was it that bad? Like,
not what you want to have, really.
Yeah, exactly. So my eye problem, whatever that was, some kind of infection. People were telling me it was this and it was this, and it wasn't. I got some drops from the doctors. It's pretty much cleared up now. Then I had tonsillitis confirmed on Monday evening after I'd been in the office with Mick Dale and Matt Kendrick filming. I had a bit of a sore throat and didn't think nothing of it.
It's how the doctor broke the news to you.
Yeah. Tonsillitis confirmed on a piece of paper. Here we go. No, my son was unwell, and I thought he's coughing, so maybe I checked my throat, saw signs of tonsillitis, worried my son had the same. It wasn't. He had something different. So that our household has, over the last couple of days, has been a bit of a hospital ward of antibiotics and medicines and all sorts. So we missed the Wickham post-match show is where I'm going with this. Obviously, we do one for every single game besides that because I was too unwell to speak. And I've just got my voice back. My eye's working. So at the moment, I'm fine. I am fit for Ipswich to talk about it. Certainly not to play. Bloody hell. Okay, right. Let's move on. No opposition view this week, again, for the reasons I've just said. I have not been working apart from the Mick interview and some other bits and pieces. So not had the time to speak to anyone from Ipswich this week. Away from match day, whilst I still waffle my way through this, will be an opportunity to plug the interview that we did with Mick Dale, who I will say has been very, very popular on Twitter, and always is. If you tweet about Mick, your engagement goes through the roof. People absolutely love him. All the replies are, Mick's a hero, Mick's a legend, which is absolutely true. But the video that we've done with him has done well with the people that have watched it. I say only, as we're filming this, it's done like 2,000 views, which is less than like me and John get for waffling about some nonsense. So, do you know what I mean? Like the popularity Mick has, that video should be on 10K already. So if you've missed it, please go back and have a watch through it. It's a brilliant 40 minutes of stories of Mick's time as the tour guide. He is immensely popular, so much so that we absolutely can do a part 2. But I just fearful that the YouTube algorithm has messed it up or something, because it should be on more views than that. Like this video will get more views than that. And why are you watching this? Mick's over there. This is much better. So if you missed that, go and watch it. There'll be a link in the description down below.
Let's hope this gets over 2,000 views. If we're getting 300, then we know there's an actual problem.
Well, that's also true. Yeah, maybe it is a YouTube problem and no one's watching this. One thing that I missed from before, John McGinn, talk to me about him. His injury confirmed. Tonsillitis confirmed, injury confirmed.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So this was in the advisory section, but this is on Saturday, Dan, so it's fine to
Yeah.
be used. So he's going to be out for another 2 to 3 weeks, which, let me quickly check my calendar. I haven't actually done the piece yet myself, but God, this is professional. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks. All right, so he's going to hopefully be back for the Fulham game. That'll be the plan. So he's going to obviously miss the international break, which that's such a bad way of wording it, but he would have missed it anyway. So he's missing Bayern, which is devastating for him. And obviously it's a blow for Villa as well, that he's going to miss the Man United game too. And hopefully we'll be back for the Fulham match, and having that break as well will help him as well. There are some quotes from Emery, again, that'll be on Birmingham Live by now, basically explaining that he thought his performances weren't quite where they were supposed to be anyway, and he put that down to he didn't say it himself, but he alluded to the fact that it's probably fatigue and that he needed a break, basically. So while it's not ideal that Villa have an injury, at the same time, I think blessing in disguise is probably the wrong phrase here, but along those lines of, well, it's kind of an enforced break, one that he probably needs. So the positive is that Villa should hopefully be getting kind of a fully fit, ready and raring to go McGinn after the international break after 3 weeks. So it's a shame for him that he's going to be missing 2 of, Man United at home is always one of the biggest games of the season because we would very much like to beat them. It's always going to be a good atmosphere, and Bayern Munich is speaks for itself. So it's a shame for him on a personal level that we're missing those 2. But afterwards, he can probably look forward and think, well, you know what, I've had a break. Now I can, crack on and continue. But it was a bit interesting what Emery said about, you haven't obviously seen it yet, Dan, so you can't really talk about it. But
I'll just nod and pretend,
Yeah, he did mention that his performances kind of weren't quite there, and that hopefully they will be kind of much improved afterwards, which I thought was interesting because McGinn has played, if I got my stats right here, I'm pretty certain he's started in every game since the start of last season, which is 40 matches of the games he is available to play in. So basically excluding, obviously, the 3-game ban he got for a red card last season. And then I think he had another couple of suspensions. He had a injury at some point as well, potentially. Maybe not actually. That was the first season Emery was here. Anyway, since the start of last season, 40 games that he could play, and he started them all, I'm pretty certain. So, that proves that even though McGinn wasn't quite the levels Emery wanted in the last few matches, he was still playing. So he's still a crucial player, and Villa are going to be missing, whether people think that he might be edged out of the team at some point because we have so much depth. He's still a player that's playing basically every game when he's available. So that speaks volumes in itself, and that is definitely something Villa will miss, at least to begin with. So, it's a frustrating one, but Villa have got enough depth, you'd hope, to kind of cope in the next 3 matches, hopefully no more.
In the most obvious substitution, is that just Bailey coming into the side? Obviously plays in a totally different way to McGinn does, but that's the fix, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking hopefully it's not going to be a kind of devastating blow, but you'd rather have McGinn in your team than not, right? And I do think his absence will be seen, and we will feel that, but you just hope it's going to be less so because we've got someone of the quality of Bailey who would play with McGinn anyway, I think. But then you've obviously got Ramsey on the left, you've got Morgan Rogers supporting Watkins, you've got Barkley on the bench, you've got Buendia, who's Buendia's, what's the right word, Dan, help me out here. His form, what's the word? His completely gone out of my head.
I'll be honest, mate. I was reading something else. I wasn't listening at the time. I just heard Buendia's.
Yeah, he scored a goal. So what is he? He's feeling confident. He's confident. His confidence. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you might have to bleep that now. You're gonna have to edit.
No, I'm gonna have to do some editing. Bloody hell.
Buendia's confidence will be high, hopefully, after scoring against Wickham. So we have lots of options. It's just a shame to be missing, obviously, your captain. So
good header, that, by the way, that Buendia goal. Just talk to me very quickly about Wickham.
Oh, you are? Oh, you can joke. I think it was a bit of a nothing game, to be honest. That might not sound very positive, and people might say, "Oh, well, what about the cups?" Genuinely, I think. And firstly, I'm desperate to see us win a trophy. But as Emery said, we won't. He didn't say this literally. He basically said, "I'm not really bothered unless we win 3 matches, and we might have a chance of winning a cup," which is true. If we beat Palace, which, by the way, it'll be making lots of changes for again. We'll see kids play. And then we get someone else, I don't know, Stoke at home or Southampton at home, and we beat them and we're in the semi-final, then yeah, we'll go after it. But for now, while we have so many games, it's just not going to be at the forefront of our minds. It's not at the forefront of my mind at the moment. So great draw, by the way. I think playing Palace at home, obviously a tricky game, but it could be worse in terms of travelling. And Wickham weren't too bad, only an hour and a half down the road, really. Well, from me, but from Villa maybe. But really sorry, I don't have not much to say here apart from Duran got his start, Buendia got his goal. I thought Caden Young looked good. He looks much bulkier now. Caden Young, he looks like a proper, ready for senior football for sure. Maatsen played well, and it is what it is. Hopefully we'll get through Palace as well, and then all of a sudden you're in a quarter-final. Let's see who we get. If it's City away, then unlucky. If it's someone that you beat at home, then go for it. Again, I'm just reiterating what Emery said, and I think we all agree that we have the Premier League, which is very important for a number of reasons. We have the Champions League, which is what we've worked hard for not just last year, but that's everyone's dream to be in the Champions League. We get 8 matches as well. The Carabao Cup will always be there. I know we haven't won anything in ages, but it's just, you can't tell me that we're focusing on that at the moment. We just can't.
Yeah, we can't be picky about, we don't want to win that because it's not important, because any trophy win is a trophy win. But it is, of all the priorities, it's by default 4th.
Yeah, because the Premier League is, if you think about it, like the Premier League is here and now. Like Emery said in his presser today, we finished with Tottenham by 2 points. The season before that was Brentford by 1 point. There's basically no room for mistakes. You have to go after every game as if it is a cup final, because it means so much at the end of the season. And the Champions League is the Champions League, like, literally the pinnacle of football. And then the Carabao Cup is, if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. We move on. Mm-hmm. If we lose the final, that'll be gut-wrenching. But if we lost to Wickham, you have the FA Cup as well. So let's just see how we go. If we get to a semi-final, then great. But I'm not going to be crying over losing to Crystal Palace, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I saw somebody, and this was only kind of Twitter speculation, but it sounded about right, so I'm going to go with it, that was talking about the financial aspect of it, which is not the be-all and end-all, but, it's football. Every kind of penny counts, we keep being told. That we got £2 million or euros for beating Young Boys and for every Champions League phase win, and you get £100,000 for winning the Carabao Cup. So we earned 20 times more for one Champions League win than we would if we actually won the final, which again, it's not about the financial side of it, but in terms of a priority, 100 grand for winning the whole thing or 2 million just for beating, Young Boys fodder, that is something that you have to take into consideration.
I think so, yeah, and people will be shouting at their monitors right now, but I want to win a trophy, and that's what we're saying, we want to win a trophy, but in the list of priorities right now on September 27, it's at the bottom, and that's literally what Emery said. So fight with Emery, don't fight with us. We just agree with our saviour. No, it's it's at the bottom of the pile at the moment, but that'll increase as the competition goes on, which we will hopefully be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine we're getting battered for this, Dan, but I think it's common sense at this point. It's just playing Crystal Palace at home 2 years ago would be the cup final for us, because we were mid-table, kind of going nowhere, no real aspirations, but we literally couldn't, because we know that we had to, in the end, we had to get an elite manager. You can't just buy your way to the Champions League. It's impossible because there's limitations. So that would be the cup final. Now it isn't, because we've improved so vastly more. And hopefully we do literally get to a cup final and we can win something. But right now, that's a long way away. So focus on Ipswich.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to our predicted 11. We always say the team kind of pretty much picks itself. It's McGinn for Bailey, I would suspect, as the change. Any others?
My team would be Martinez in goal, obviously. I think I'd be starting Carlos again. Obviously pulled out of the team, but has trained since, so it should be okay. Conser right back. Luca Dean, you'd probably just keep at left back for now. He's doing fine. Pau Torres, Amadou Onana, Yuri Tielemans, Bailey right, Ramsey left, Rogers supporting Watkins. I don't think it would be any different to that unless Bogard played at right back and Conser played centre half.
My only consideration with the starting 11 is whether there is any consideration towards the Bayern Munich game, which, said about, focus on Ipswich, let's not think about it. But if there is to be any changes, like if Dean is playing here, does that mean Maatsen plays on Wednesday? Or if Maatsen plays here, does that mean Dean is playing on Wednesday? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there any possibility that if there is a game to rotate, I know obviously the first team players, a lot of them didn't play against Wickham, and they can certainly do Ipswich, Bayern, Man United in a week. Like, this is top level football we're talking about. Like, of course they can do it, but are they going to be at their absolute peak performance if they have to do it? Or is this the game where if you are going to make changes, obviously it's the one of the three?
Yeah. I don't know how to word this without sounding like a lunatic, but this might come across as mental, but I'm just thinking because Unai is right. So basically, firstly, Unai will put the best 11 he can on the pitch for Ipswich, and then he'll assess the damage essentially after that. And I don't know how to word this because for a lot of people this is going to sound stupid, but would Unai, and hear me out, would he rather beat Ipswich than Bayern? I know that sounds mental. I know
what you're saying,
but we can progress in the Champions League if we lose 6-0 to Bayern Munich. Because you've got to finish in a bracket of 10 or 9 to 24 or something like that. Whereas Ipswich, as he keeps saying, every point is so important and crucial come the end of the season. And we know that Premier League is also the priority for Emery because that gives access to the Champions League, Europa League, whatever, which is the main objective of the club. Yes, to win trophies, but also to stay in Europe consistently. I'm kind of like, does he want to beat Ipswich more than Bayern? Probably not, because he wants to win every game just as much. But I think he would be more, and this might sound a bit more obvious, but he'll be more frustrated if we don't beat Ipswich than Bayern. That sounds very obvious because it's a better team, Bayern, than Ipswich. But you kind of see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, we like to see Bayern as this really prestigious game, which it is. But let's take the Dean and Maatsen example as the example. Let's say Dean is our first choice, because he is at the moment, and he plays against... Actually, no, that's a crap example. Let's go Watkins and Duran. Watkins is first choice, okay? He plays against Ipswich and is unavailable then for Bayern Munich because he picks up a knock, so Duran has to start. That probably makes it more likely that Villa don't get something against Bayern Munich, although you never know because Duran is an absolute wild card. But that doesn't make that game on Wednesday any less exciting for us. It's still going to be amazing. We're still going to really enjoy it and look forward to it. Whereas we've got kind of the 3 points in the bag from allowing Watkins to play in the lesser game against Ipswich. Whereas if we started to run against Ipswich and drop points, but Watkins was available for Bayern, we're not any more likely to win it because it's still going to be really, really difficult. Is that the kind of
there is that
about point?
I just think if you said to a neutral, Unai Emery wants to beat Ipswich, kind of, I don't know how to say it, because we want to win every game and we're good enough to win every game, as in standalone, we could beat anyone, genuinely. But I'm trying to make the point of like, Unai he wants to beat Ipswich just as much as he wants to beat Bayern. Like if we beat Bayern and Ipswich, yeah, it would be great to beat Bayern. It'd be a fantastic night. But I just think for Unai, he'll just view that as 3 points, 3 points. That's really all that matters. Like he had Champions League semi-finals. He's won so many trophies. For him, Ipswich is 3 points. Bayern Munich is 3 points. Man United is 3 points. You can call them team ABC. That's the kind of point I'm trying to get across. Each Premier League game is so important and crucial to him that a Champions League match, whoever it's against, considering we have 8 of them, and yes, finishing in the top 9 or top 8, forgot what the number is, would be like fantastic and incredible. But it's unlikely. I think we need to kind of temper our expectations here just because we beat young boys. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm trying to come across like we'll make like a narrative, but I'm trying to just prove the point of Ipswich that is everything right now. So the team he'll be playing is the best team he possibly has. And then if a player or two gets injured, he won't be like, I should have probably rested them for Bayern. He won't be thinking that at all. That won't even come into his thinking. He'll just be like, okay, so that player can't play. What's the next one to step up? That'll be his thing. This isn't like the Wickham match where we're going to be resting players. We resting players because, as I've just gone on about, it's at the bottom of the pile, unfortunately, at the moment. But that's football. You can't play. There's so many games at the moment. You can't play your best team all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. Let's finish this episode with our score prediction. Let's give you some time to write it on your phone, whatever you're going to do. Hopefully your connection... You've already done it?
Yeah.
I love the preparation. Lovely. All right, I'll still waffle my way through my intro. Last week for Wolves, I said 2-0, you said 3-2, and it was 3-1. So a point apiece again. No, almost. So for 3 games in a row, we've both got the correct outcome. So a point each time. So we're both on 3. For Ipswich away, John, we're going to go for a quick reveal in 3, 2, 1. I've gone for 1-4, and John's gone for a very snazzy looking 0-2. Clean sheet at last in the league.
Oh, I meant to put 2-1. I genuinely did, because that's the reason why I didn't go 2-0, but I did. Oh,
well, what are you doing? You've committed 2-0 to a little picture on your phone. Is that what you're going to go for?
Yeah, I'll back it. 2-0.
Okay, right. I'll put that into my spreadsheet later. 2-0 for you. I've gone 4-1, which probably sounds more disrespectful as a scoreline than the stuff I was saying earlier. But just fancy us to put a performance together and score a hat full of goals. Like, why not? Duran to get 2, Watkins to get 2. Like, let's have it, kind of thing. So, yeah, 4-1 for me.
Would you rather win 4-1 or 2-0?
4-1.
Would you?
Easy, yeah.
Yeah. I know, again, I'm asking very silly questions today, but
that's a 3 goal. There's +3 for goal difference. Yours is only +2.
Clean sheet, just like mentally for the players. I feel like.
But don't get any extra points, anything for that, do you?
Well, over the course of the season, you never know. But very stupid of me, because of course, 3-goal swing is better than a 2-goal swing. So
yeah,
I'll take 4-1 as well.
Okay, all right, let's wrap up. Usual pretty much level of chaos, to be fair, as a live stream. So we've done well. Couple of bit of internet little bit of internet. I've got to leave that in now. Couple of little bit of internet bits that I have had to edit around, but the rest of it we've kept it unedited. So enjoy the chaos as per.
I was turning down my connection, so you had to do some work.
Oh, thank you. We'll be here for the post-match Ipswich show on Sunday afternoon. I think it's me and Frankie Maguire, but come and have a look and see who it is. I've not confirmed it just yet. On Monday, John and I will be doing the Q&A as per. And on Tuesday, we've got a kind of special interview podcast with somebody who's not a Villa fan or player or anything. It's not McDale again. As we start our build-up to the Bayern Munich game, we filmed it today over StreamYard, but it's a really, really good episode. I've just edited it. So absolutely worth a watch. And Wednesday is Bayern Munich Day. But as Unai tells us, we'll focus on that after Ipswich. So we'll see you for that next week. John, thanks for joining me as always. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Claret and Blue. And we'll see you Sunday.